President Trump strongly believes that we cannot outsource our security because, Kristen, let me tell you what will happen, and it might not be next year, might not be in 5 years, but down the road, this fight for the Arctic is real. We would keep our NATO our NATO guarantees, and if there were an attack on Greenland from Russia, from some other area, we would get dragged in. So better now, peace through strength, make it part of the United States, and there will not be a conflict because the United States right now, we are the hottest country in the world, we are the strongest country in the world. The Europeans project weakness, the U.S. projects strength.
Well, we got some breaking news for you that the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has spoken to Donald Trump and told him his tariff threats over Greenland are just wrong. Amanda Acass has more on this development from London.
It's the initial announcement of these tariffs threatened by Donald Trump last night. We now know that the Prime Minister had a number of calls with leaders this afternoon. So we're told he spoke to the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, and then we're told he spoke to President Trump. Now, we don't have any real details about what was discussed, except the readout says in all his calls, the Prime Minister reiterated his position on Greenland. He said that security in the High North is a priority for all NATO allies in order to protect Euro-Atlantic interests. He also said that applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is wrong. So not really much more detail than the statement that he's given us and what we heard from Lisa Nandy, the Culture Secretary, earlier. Now, in that statement, he said that the tariffs were completely wrong. He's just saying they're wrong. But clearly, it's a message that he has attempted to get across to Donald Trump. We know his position on Greenland is that the future of Greenland is for the people of Denmark and the people of Greenland to decide. But also this reiteration of the importance of renewed security in the High North is something that I think we've heard repeatedly from both Sir Keir Starmer and also the other European leaders in the joint statement that they made earlier on today, not just to make the point that the exercises that were being carried out there, that just one UK military officer attended as part of a reconnaissance mission, we're told, ahead of a broader exercise to be planned in future in support of Denmark, yes, but really to underline the idea that NATO countries were all engaged with and prepared to do more to help support security in the High North, because, of course, this has been the justification that President Trump has given for needing to acquire or purchase Greenland in order to protect it from China or indeed Russia. And he used the fact that this military operation between these 8 countries had taken place as a kind of justification to issue the threats of tariffs that he did.
Well, let's get some more on this now. And joining us live from Copenhagen is the former advisor to the Danish Ministry of Defence, Mikkel Vedby Rasmussen. It's good to have you with us, sir. Thank you for your time in your evening. So is Greenland really going to be given up here?
No, we are not going to give up Greenland. Greenland is an integrated part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and it's going to remain so.
Is there much support in Greenland itself for what Donald Trump is doing, from what you can gather?
I think Greenland is a vibrant democracy, and there are people on many sides of this issue, but the overwhelming majority of Greenlanders feel that they belong in the Kingdom of Denmark, and they most certainly believe that they should choose their own path and not somehow be traded between Copenhagen and Washington.
So I've always been of the view, when it comes to Donald Trump, that one shouldn't take him literally. There's usually something behind it all, which is what he really wants. So what do you suspect that is?
Well, I mean, we have been saying the same thing for about a year in Copenhagen, saying that, hey, in some ways, this wasn't really about Greenland. He wanted something else. And, all the kind of stuff you do when you cannot really come to terms with the fact that a country you have been a close ally with since the Second World War is trying to acquire some of your territory and basically threaten to use military force to do so. But to be honest, I've given up on trying to assess what Donald Trump is really all about. I think the only fact we have to deal with is that he has threatened tariffs on Denmark and a number of other European countries from February, and that he is continuing to not wanting to rule out to use military force.
Could it be used by Russia or China in any future conflict, which is suspected?
Not if the NATO countries currently deploying for exercises in Greenland are up to deterring Russia and China. And please remember that during the entire Cold War, Denmark, the United States, Britain, and other allies were deterring the Soviet Union as Russia was then. So we have done this before. We have done it before together, and we can do it again.
What if Russia and China, a bit different from, a bit extra from the Soviet Union?
That is true, but on the other hand, Europe is collectively increasing its defense capacity immensely at the moment. We can do this, no problem.
What, if anything, could or will Greenland and its European allies give up?
I think we are prepared to make a deal which can ensure prosperity and security for Greenland, but that deal has to be made on the basis of the Greenlandic nation's sovereignty and its right to decide its own fate. I think it's very difficult to see a compromise on the Greenlanders' right to decide their own fate.
How much of this do you suspect or think has to do with resources?
Oh, I think resources are a huge part of it. I think the United States' ambition to increase their missile defense capability with that Golden Dome is a part of it. And I think there's a huge element of the United States trying to place the chess pieces on the geopolitical chessboard in the right way before this spring's negotiations with China. I think that is also a huge part of it. Yeah. But it boils down to the relationship between Denmark and the United States.
So let's just say the Greenland wasn't annexed, but the Americans were able to put more of its military assets into Greenland as a way to kind of fend off threats from Russia or China. Would Greenland be open to such a thing?
Most certainly. I mean, the United States has a treaty with Denmark and Greenland since the 1950s, which enables the United States to do this. If this ends well, and if the negotiations go the way we all hope, then I'm sure that a part of this would be the establishment of more US bases. But I think you also need to remember that Greenland is extremely cold. It's extremely distant. It's extremely difficult to operate there. So, I mean, it would be a huge investment for the United States to have those military bases and so on. And investments with the United States have not been willing to make for the last generation or so.
Okay. Mikkel Vedby Rasmussen, good to chat. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.